At this time, I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders to order, please. Please rise. Today is the National Day of Prayer, and I ask all of us to remember in your thoughts and prayers the mother of our treasurer, Jim Phillips, Lois Phillips, and the wife of the late freeholder, John Phillips. Also remember Mary Ann Holland, Assistant Administrator in the Board of Elections. Salute to the flag. Dennis, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Barrett.
Here.
Freeholder Delina.
Here.
Freeholder Polos.
Here.
Freeholder Rios. Freeholder Scott. Here. Freeholder Valenti.
Here.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Here. Reports of freeholders. Freeholder Carol Barrett.
Thank you, Director. Tonight, I am very pleased to announce that on tonight's agenda, it includes a resolution to accept the bid for road milling and resurfacing on 17 county roads. That is Resolution 10761. If that resolution is approved tonight, more than 16.5 miles of some of the county's busiest roads will be improved starting this summer, and all the work is being paid for with federal stimulus dollars. The county engineer's office has estimated that the work, which also includes the installation of ADA ramps at 1,000 intersections, would cost more than $8.1 million. The winning bid from Defino Contracting Company in Cliffwood Beach came in at $5.7 million. This represents a significant savings. It also should be noted that 14 companies submitted bid proposals, making this an extremely competitive process. Roads, the stimulus funds are doing exactly what they were intended to do. They are putting residents back to work. Roads to be milled and resurfaced include Woodbridge Avenue in Edison and Highland Park, New Durham Road in Metuchen and Edison, Route 516 and Old Bridge Matawan Road in Old Bridge, Roosevelt Avenue in Carteret, and Livingston Avenue in New Brunswick. I urge my freeholder colleagues to approve this resolution so we can get the shovels in the ground by this summer. If we approve this tonight, we will be among the first counties in the state to get the stimulus dollars working. I wish to thank the county engineer, John Reiser, and his department for taking such an aggressive approach to bringing federal funds to Middlesex County. By doing so, we got our piece of the pie and are using it to improve the safety of our residents. Thanks again, John. Great job. Also, I'm happy on tonight's agenda, there's a resolution authorizing the submission of the 2010 Consolidated Plan application to HUD. The programs funded under this plan will bring into Middlesex County a total of $4.2 million for projects benefiting low-income people, the elderly, the disabled, and the homeless. It will also provide for the creation of new affordable housing for our residents through acquisition, construction, rehab, I can't say that. Rehab, okay? I guess I'm not going to be saying that word. And a first for the first-time homeowners program. So we have a lot of good news. And information on Saturday, May 15th, from 8 to 2 p.m. at the Middlesex County Division of Highways, located at 750 Journey Mill Road, residents throughout Middlesex County can be dropping off materials such as paint, herbicides, pesticides, and other hazardous waste. A licensed hauler will remove all of the materials from the site within 72 hours. So if any of the residents have anything that they need to be disposed of, May 15th, again, at 750 Journey Mill Road. That's my report. Thank you.
Freeholder. Freeholder Delina.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. I would like to bring to the board's attention Resolution 10762, which is on tonight's agenda. The resolution awards the contract for completion of a permanent beach stabilization project at the Old Bridge Waterfront Park. This is a very important measure that we have taken to assure that 2.5 miles of waterfront is protected to the type of serious damage that has caused by the strong storms we have experienced in March and April. I urge the board to support this resolution. I would also like to note that the similar project, permanent protection for the Raton Bay Waterfront Park shoreline, has gone out to bid and now is being reviewed and worked on at this location, should start shortly at the end of this week. On another subject, I would like to advise the board to the public of Middlesex County Conservation Corps. Interest volunteers will be busy working at the Jamesburg Park Conservation Area in East Brunswick this Saturday, May 8th, from 9:30 a.m. to noon. In an effort to clean up the unique site, which has been called the Pine Barrens in Middlesex County, will have a harmful and invasive plant removed to help preserve this beautiful open space. Anyone interested in participating in this event or would like further information on applying as a member of our Conservation Corps can call Valerie Lutzko at 732-745-3064. That number is Valerie Letzko at 732-745-3064. I thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Polos.
Thank you, Director. This past week, we celebrated the 11th anniversary of the Middlesex County 3D PSA contest. It's an event that began, as I indicated, 11 years ago, where we asked area high schools, both parochial as well as public, to participate in a program to develop 30-second public service announcement videos about the dangers of drinking and driving. We felt that by teens developing these messages, they would be able to speak to their peers much more effectively than some of the canned, at that time, information that was available to show publicly to students and so forth. At the time that we began the program 11 years ago, we never realized that it would grow with the success that it has. This past week, again, we celebrated the 11th anniversary. We had 16 schools participate. Over the years, we've expanded our partnership to now include the New Jersey Department of Highway Traffic Safety, Rutgers University Division of Alcohol Studies, the Robert Wood Johnson University Injury Trauma Center, and the NCADD of Middlesex County. Our partners have given the program a lot more breadth and depth. We now have the program culminate in an all-day session and activity for the students who participate. They come, this year we did it at our Fire Academy. I want to thank Mike Gallagher and all those who were involved in helping set that up this year. It was very successful. We did peer-to-peer counseling. They did some play acting. We had members of the state police participate. We used our golf cart drive program outside so the students could get some hands-on, tactile sense of what it would be like to try to drink and drive. They wear fatal vision goggles and drive around a special course in golf carts with state troopers to their side. It's a pretty sobering experience, I might add, for the students who are 16 and up. But it was a very successful event. Again, over the years, we've expanded it to now include Spanish entries so that we can try to get the message out in more than one language. And this past year, we started audio entries for public service announcement videos on radio. In another, I believe at the next meeting, we'll actually be presenting the winners of those categories. I want to thank my Freeholder colleague, Blanquita Valenti, who has been a judge for that for how many years now, Blanquita? 3 or 4, 5 perhaps, maybe more. Certainly since we started the Spanish entries, it's clearly Blanquita's expertise, and she's just been wonderful being a part of the judging. I want to thank all the participants, all the people who helped organize. It was a very successful event, and again, we get a very good message out of it.
Also this past week, I attended an event in Plainsboro where we announced the creation of our 6th transportation shuttle in Middlesex County. When we began the Department of Transportation 5 short years ago, we had about 35 to 40,000 residents utilize the shuttles that existed within our inventory at that point, which was really only one major shuttle and the birth of a second soon thereafter. This year, we're able to boast that as a result of growth, we now have over 300,000 passengers a year just utilizing the shuttles that we've developed in Middlesex County. It's an important statistic because the more people that use shuttles, the less vehicles we have on the road. It improves traffic and reduces the impact on our environment. The fact is that, and we studied one of our shuttles recently, the shuttle actually reduces about 40, in this one instance, about 40 what we call single occupancy vehicle trips a day. That may not sound like a lot, but on a cumulative basis, that reduces about 200,000 passenger miles a year in cars, which also results in about 95 tons of carbon monoxide, which is the greenhouse gases we all worry about, being reduced out of our atmosphere. So shuttles do two things. They provide good, affordable, independent transportation for our seniors, our disabled, those who are seeking employment, those who are looking for better education opportunities and for recreation opportunities. And it's also good for our environment because it reduces carbon emissions by putting people onto shuttles rather than single occupancy vehicles. Again, we've coined the phrase, you go green, you save green. It certainly applies here because you're not only saving money, but we're also saving our environment at the same time, and it helps us achieve sustainability within our county. The nice thing about this new shuttle is it will provide wonderful employment opportunities for residents in the southern part of our county to be able to access the new medical facility that's being built in Plainsboro, the Princeton Medical Center, beautiful facility out there. And it will also, for the first time, cross county borders, which makes it a particularly exciting shuttle. We'll actually be dead-ending at the Princeton Junction rail station, which is in Mercer County. So it's the first shuttle that we've developed which actually crosses a county border. But we believe, and I'm sure you'll agree, that the regional approach to transportation is the most effective approach to transportation. It is largely being funded by federal dollars. Of course, some county dollars are being used, but the majority of it is through federal funds. And again, it provides a wonderful opportunity for independent transportation for the residents of our county. I'd just like to tag on to Freeholder Barrett's comments about the milling and paving. The money that comes, as the freeholders know, that comes to us from the reinvestment dollars funnels through the New Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, which I'm a member of, and I just wanted to also recognize George Vavridis for the work that he's done with his staff in trying to develop the mechanics of the actual grant application, the attendance at the meetings. There are a number of workshops. I can tell you that I receive literally volumes of paperwork a week as a member of that body that oversees the distribution of the funds statewide. And there's an enormous amount of work that goes into it, so compliments to John Reiser, also to George and his staff. It's been a great team effort, making sure that those monies are coming into our county, not only improving our roads, but creating good-paying jobs for the residents in our county as well. So it's something that we'll continue to work and labor for very, very much in the future. And later on, I have a presentation to make when it comes to resolutions. Thank you so much, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Scott?
Thank you, Director. No report tonight.
Thank you. Freeholder Blanquita Valente?
Yes, I want to report about our 90th birthday bash that was held on May the 5th at the Old office or Senior Center. It was a great event. We had over 100 participants, and it gave us a great deal of pleasure to present the freeholder resolution to a lady who just turned 99, but a few months ago at age 98 obtained her high school diploma. I never thought I would want to live that long, but if I'm like she was, then I would not object too much. But it was a beautiful event, and I want to congratulate Peg Chester, our Executive Director of the Department of Aging, for a job well done. Also, the motto this year for the Older American Act is age strong and live long, and there were a lot of people there that really lived up to that. We did have among us a 100-year-old person, plus many others in their 90s. Also, we're designating May 2010 as Mental Health Awareness Month. In a little while, I will make a presentation. This is a very active, our mental health board is a very active group from Middlesex County, and I know that we will have a recipient tonight. And that is the end of my report, Freeholder Director.
Thank you, Freeholder. Just a couple quick items. Last Saturday, I attended the Middlesex County College Foundation dinner and presented them with a resolution that we passed recognizing our county college for its 45 years of existence. Certainly is a great learning institution, and we're proud to support that college. This coming Wednesday, I'm going to be attending a dinner celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Boys and Girls Clubs. And also yesterday, myself and Freeholder Scott attended the YMCA Awards dinner from Edison, Metuchen, Woodbridge, and presented a resolution to Paulette Waller, who is the daughter of Dave Crabule, and he was recognized for his commitment to community service. It was a real nice event, and I certainly was proud to present that on behalf of the board. Good, okay. Proclamations.
The first proclamation this evening is designating May 1st through 7th as Elks National Youth Week in Middlesex County. And the second is designating May 2010 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Middlesex County, and May 2nd through 8th as Children's Mental Health Awareness Week in Middlesex County.
Commemorative resolutions.
First is recognizing the Boys and Girls Clubs of America on their 100th anniversary. Next is recognizing Deputy Warden Frank Masson, Sergeant Charles Kravitz, Corrections Officer Ronald Tucker, and Corrections Officer Dorothy Craig on the occasion of their retirements from the Middlesex County Adult Correction Center. Excuse me. Next is recognizing the late David B. Crabule as he was honored by the Metuchen Edison Woodbridge Young Men's Christian Association as the 2010 recipient of the YMCA Peter J. Barnes Community Champion Award, and the following individuals: David Belowich as the 2010 recipient of the Charles S. Edgar Memorial Award, and Jennifer D. Cubelis, Jamie Galata, Christine Growley, and John Machalaba as they are named the 2010 recipients of the John G. Malinowski Award from the Metuchen Edison Woodbridge Young Men's Christian Association. Next is recognizing Gary Schaefer, a driver in the Department of Transportation, as he has placed third in the New Jersey Parrot Transit Rodeo. And last is recognizing Adam Jacob Grossman and Jonathan Richard Day of Troop 17 as they have achieved their Eagle Scout Awards.
I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Barrett?
Yes.
Freeholder Delina?
Yes.
Freeholder Polos?
Yes.
Freeholder Scott?
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano?
Yes. Freeholder, Paulus, I believe you have a presentation.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to ask Steve Tatanti to join me up at the podium. Gary, could you come up and join me as well? It's your night. Now, some of you may have seen Gary at meetings a couple of times in the last couple of years because he's been recognized by the Freeholder Board for his participation. I would say for the last 3 or 4 years we've done this now, for his participation in a program called the Statewide Garden State. It's the rodeo. It is a program that's put together by the New Jersey Paratransit organization from New Jersey. And what they do is they have drivers of paratransit vehicles, such as Gary from our MCAP program, participate in an extremely difficult course that they have to drive through. It's a very technical course. They have to come within inches of things less than that. So they literally go out and measure to be able to determine the quality of your driving skills. And Gary has participated for a number of years on behalf of the county, and he's received been in the top 4 from 2005 through 2010, and this year finished in 3rd place. He is the only driver in the history of this rodeo, which has gone on for 35 years, I believe, who has actually been able to achieve that many top place finishes for that period of time consecutively. So we're particularly proud of what Gary's done. his safe driving record, his ability to be able to represent Middlesex County, and he's just one of many drivers that do great work every day. We have a great staff and team that provides transportation, again, to our disabled and to our seniors and to the general population. We travel probably close to 500,000 trips a year, correct? I guess we're about our numbers now. So it's a pretty large operation, and they do a wonderful job. So, Gary, on behalf of the Board of Freeholders, I want to congratulate you once again this year for your success representing Middlesex County, doing a great job, being a wonderful driver, and representing all the good drivers of Middlesex County. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Just looking forward to participating again next year.
Correspondence?
Freeholder Valenti has a presentation.
Sorry. Fielder Valente.
Will Scott Kilman please come to meet me at the podium, as well as Suzanne Creed?
Hello, my name is Guy Kilman. I am a resident of Middlesex County. I am 18 years old. I go to school in Parley, New Jersey. And I've been a client of the CMO for about 1.5 years now. I recently started a part-time job. And in the next 2 to 5 years, I plan on going to college and taking it from there.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure to make this presentation. Suzanne is a member of our Mental Health Board and Human Services, and also to Scott, who spoke so eloquently.
Oh, you want to say something? Yeah.
We're so far away. Too far away.
Freeholder, you said you had one more thing about the rodeo?
And I apologize, Director. You know, a number of people came out from the Department of Transportation to show support for Gary's award tonight. I would just like everybody who's here from DOT to please stand up and be recognized, and thank all of you for doing such a great job for us each and every day, please. Come on. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now correspondence.
Each freeholder has been provided with a list of correspondence received by the clerk's office since our last meeting. This correspondence will be kept on file in the office of the clerk of the board for reference.
I need a motion to accept the correspondence.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Now, there's some correspondence that requires action, I believe.
Yes, the board received a letter from Mayor Francis Womack of North Brunswick Township asking the board to consider making a contribution from the Open Space Trust Fund in the amount of $10,500,000, which would be applied towards the purchase price for acquisition of the Polda Farm located on Route 130 and Old Georges Road.
I need a motion to refer that to the Open Space Committee and have them then report back to us.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Valente, second by Freeholder Barrett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Present not voting, Director. I have to be present not voting on the motion.
Okay.
I know the owner of the property personally. I've done work for him, so
Okay. Now we need to deviate from the regular order of business for the purpose of conducting one public hearing and introducing one ordinance.
Notice of this public hearing was published in the Home News Tribune on April 27th. This public hearing was authorized at a meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders held on April 22nd, 2010.
Please read ordinance 389 by title only.
Bond ordinance providing for 2010 general capital improvements and the acquisition of equipment for the Middlesex County Vocational and Technical High Schools located within the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,100,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,100,000 bonds or notes of the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey for financing such appropriation, and authorizing a public hearing to be held Thursday, May 6, 2010 at 7 p.m., and authorizing publication thereof.
At this point, I'd like to open the meeting to the public on this ordinance only. Anybody from the public? Need a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to adopt ordinance number 389 on final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes. County Council?
Yes, with regard to ordinance number 390, which is on for first reading, please note that the ordinance, as was originally listed, the amount has been changed slightly. Previously, $43,315,609 is actually now reduced by $25. It's $43,315,584. Director, it would be appropriate that we have a motion second roll call to amend the ordinance and then can be read by the clerk on first reading with the amended amount.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call to the amendment.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes. Now read the amended ordinance 390 by title
Yes.
only.
Bond ordinance providing for various 2010 capital improvements by and in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $45,481,390 therefore, and authorizing $43,315,584 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof, and authorizing the public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 20th, 2010, at 7 p.m., and publication thereof.
I need a motion to adopt the amended ordinance 390 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yeah.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes. I need a motion to resume the regular order of business.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, there are no resolutions to be amended. However, we do have three resolutions that are proposed to be added to the consent agenda this evening, and I'll read them in order. The first resolution would be to authorize the 2009 through 2012 labor agreement with CWA, AFL-CIO, Middlesex County Health Inspectors Association of the Middlesex County Health Department. A motion and a second to add.
Individually?
Yes.
I need a motion to add that to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
And that will be identified as Resolution 10-773. The second resolution to be proposed for addition is the companion resolution to the one just added, and that is to amend the 2010 salary schedule for CWA, AFL-CIO, Middlesex County Health Inspectors Association, Middlesex County Health Department.
I need a motion to add that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
And that will appear as Resolution 10-774. And finally, proposed for addition is a resolution to authorize adjustment in the per-page charge to the public for self-service digitalized document duplication on printers in the office of the county clerk for public records from the computerized database in the county clerk's office, effective as soon as practicable and in no event later than July 1st, 2010, and directing Qualtech Document Solutions to make adjustment in the per-page charge to the public for self-service document photocopying on the coin-operated photocopy machines that it provides to the office of the county clerk pursuant to Resolution 08-1048, adopted June 19, 2008, bid purchase order 08502, and are on county premises, effective as soon as practicable.
I need a motion to add that to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett,
Yes.
Freeholder Delina,
Yes.
Freeholder Polos,
Yes.
Freeholder Scott,
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
And that will appear as Resolution 10-775. That's all the resolutions proposed for addition. There are no resolutions proposed to be held, and there are no resolutions proposed to be voided.
Okay. At this point in time, I'd like to open the meeting up to public discussion on resolutions listed on the agenda. And remember, there's a 5-minute rule. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bob Spiegel, Edison Wetlands Association. Question, is there anything on the consent agenda tonight regarding the open space fund? And if so, which agenda item is it?
772 on the last page.
Oh, okay, yes, the very last one. Okay. We came here last week and asked that this be reconsidered, and I would ask again tonight that you hold this. I understand that the budget itself has this amount reflected in it, but freeholders, I would ask that you reconsider this again tonight. Hearing that what you said regarding the Polder Farm, I think it's an excellent idea. I'm familiar with the project. I've worked with the people involved. I think it's an excellent acquisition, and I would fully support it. When you look at the amount, though, $10 million, that's almost exactly the amount that you're going to be decreasing the Open Space Trust Fund. And we have many, many other acquisitions within the county of Middlesex, besides this, that would be great applications for funding. As I said at the last meeting, the Edison Township alone has its own open space acquisition priority list. Many of those acquisitions remain to be done because we didn't have enough in our open space trust fund to move forward with those acquisitions. There's also very little money left at as you know, at the state level at this point in time. So yours is the only funding that is left. Now, while you may say that we've acquired all these properties already that are prioritized for this year, that may be true. But there are a lot of properties out there, if we have funding available, that should be acquired. We really don't have a full list of properties in the Middlesex County. We don't really know all the properties that the townships might want to have acquired because we really don't have a good open space advisory group. We don't have one that reflects equal representation from each town. We don't have other groups like Baykeeper and Edison Wetlands and other open space groups like the Conservation Foundation, part of that open space advisory group. So we really don't know what other properties could be out there. And as you know, this is a great time to buy land. You know, they said buy land, they stopped making it. Well, that's true. We don't really have a lot of property left that we can buy, but we do have some parcels left. And I think that we should be exploring ways to maximize those acquisitions. Clearly, there's other properties in the Dismal Swamp Conservation Area that should be purchased. And there's other properties throughout our town and other towns. I know that in Milltown, they want to purchase the Ford Avenue property, and they want to see if you can possibly purchase the entire area, not just the few acres that are along the waterfront. And I would ask the freeholders, instead of voting on this tonight and creating this very animous relationship between open space groups, environmental organizations, that it's likely going to result, and I'm telling you this now, it's likely going to result in a legal challenge for the authority to reduce this amount, because it's not clear to me, while it's been said, it's still not clear to me whether you have the authority to reduce this amount of money. It was voted on by the taxpayers, which is really odd that taxpayers would vote to increase a tax. You know, as you saw in the last election, you know, the taxpayer has very little sense of humor for things to be voted on, and the school budget was one of the ones that clearly there was a message sent out that people did not want to fund things that they felt were a waste of money, and that was voted down, hands down, across the state. But the open space wasn't. Okay, people voted for open space, and they voted for it with a clear majority. And every time open space is put on the agenda, it's voted for. And there's a reason. There's a reason. It's because the taxpayers value open space. It's because they see that open space is one of the few things that helps to stabilize property values, increase quality of life issues, and makes life generally livable. You know, when you protect open space, when you spend the money that we're asking you now to keep it in the budget, it not only helps to help quality of life, but it also helps stabilize ratables, because when you build in townships, regardless of what's been said and what promises are being told, it puts stress on the schools, and the schools can't take those stresses. We already are busting at the seams in our schools, and buying open space helps to alleviate those stresses. Okay, so I ask you to withhold that tonight, and if I could have just 30 seconds more, because there's one other subject, if freeholders, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, so I just want to make you aware of it. On page 8, you have on your agenda the beach contract for $1,800,000. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but these beaches in Old Bridge are now part of a Superfund site, the Old Bridge slag site, and most of these beaches are now closed to the public because of the toxic waste that was found there. So I would ask, before you spend $1,800,000 on replenishing these beaches, that you hold this and you study it to make sure these are not the beaches that are closed, because it doesn't make sense to spend $1.8 million replenishing beaches that are toxic because of the slag that was deposited on these beach areas. A lot of these beaches are closed, and while I applaud the work you've done out here with making this area look nice, it's no longer accessible to the public. So before you spend $1,800,000, I would investigate that to make sure that these are, in fact, beaches that are available to the public and not the ones that have all the toxic lead slag on it. And again, please also hold this tonight. I'm not saying, you know, if at the end of the day you come back and you study it a little bit more.
You went a little beyond 30 seconds.
Okay. But please put this back on.
I just want to call upon Jim Phillips to respond.
Good to see you again.
How you doing, sir?
You step away from the mic if that's okay, because I got it. I have a great deal of respect for Mr. Spiegel and what he says, but the last item that he brought up, this repair is being done in an area that has already been proven not to be contaminated. This is the area that is in Old Bridge, our closest border to Sayreville. This is an area where the beaches are open. It has been examined. There is no contamination. There is not even the slightest presence of contamination on this particular site. What this was, though, is an area that, for some reason, has undergone a difference in current, and in the last storms has been terribly, terribly damaged. The repair that's being done is one which will protect, I would say, 25 homes, which is in our Paul's Beach area, that is now being protected by what was considered to be a soft protection. What this $1.8 million would do is put in a hard protection, protect these 25 homes, and for that I would ask you not to hold it, to proceed as quickly as you can, because literally for Freeholder Delina, Ralph Alberner, and those who have been down to see it, the sea is being held back by plastic sausage tubes. That's what's holding the difference between Raritan Bay and taking out 25 homes. So the faster you can move on this, I would appreciate it. And as far as the other issue, I didn't mean to speak on it, but the open space issue, I do realize that it could be somewhat controversial to some, but I can tell you that even with this penny reduction, you're still going to be taking in over $23 or $24 million a year, which you can use. And that one penny, which may sound insignificant to some, when the time it reaches an Old Bridge taxpayer, will actually be a reduction on their tax bill this year of about $40. So take that into your considerations also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sir.
My name is Woodrow Tuning. I live in Spotswood, New Jersey. I represent 200 cement finishers in Middlesex County. Judging from my conversation with my members, each and every one of them is struggling. We know that. Having a hard time paying their taxes, paying their bills. Half of them are out of work. The other half can hardly make it. I think that every little bit would help at this point, and I think reducing this tax is a very good idea. I'd like to see it go through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Kevin Bifocal. I'm from South Brunswick. I got a small farm on Culver Road. And us people in South Brunswick really appreciate what you did with this open space. I lived out there my whole life. We really like the country. But we know we're in a recession. People are struggling. So anything you could have to do to save and buy it down the road, that's, it's good. It's all right with the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Wayne Shackner. I live in Edison, New Jersey. I love the fact that people are fighting for open space, but people are struggling all throughout the county, and a 1 penny reduction would help everybody greatly. People are having a hard time paying their taxes. I have family members that, might be losing their house because they can't pay. So I'd appreciate it if that 1 cent reduction goes through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Lisa Sabo, and I live in Spotswood, New Jersey. I know a lot of people out of work and a lot of people that are struggling as well. And the economy is just, bad on everyone. I really think that this tax cut would help, and I completely support it, and I wish that you would too. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Director, Freeholders, my name's Tom Ty. I live in Saraville, New Jersey. I wear many hats in this county, and I do an awful lot for the community. I'm also the district chair for the Boy Scouts of Raritan Bay Council and Semios, which encompasses all of Middlesex County. When I had a bad accident in 1974, I decided to take my life in a direction, and I walked from Maine to Georgia. I sit on the Saraville Planning Board that saved the Capic Center, the preserved 900 acres there. But tonight, I come before you. I respect the people here tonight who have come out for the petition against the open space and the reduction that they don't want. But here I want to have my voice heard tonight. You're not eliminating the open space tax. You found a way to balance all of the needs of all of the people in the county for all of this use. You will still be able to buy land and still fund all the past projects that have been committed to. Projects will still be funded, and we will still get a slight tax break. Freeholders in other counties, such as Morris, have done this to give all of the taxpayers and all of the open space an open break and a tax break. With all the state cuts that we have, and until the economy comes around, I appreciate everything that you've done, and we do need a break. This is a compromise that I can stand behind as a naturalist and as a Boy Scout and as a community leader. I want to thank you for making tough decisions, and remember, every little penny helps for the working people. I am also the president of the Middlesex County Central Labor Council, and I represent every union member in this county, and we need a break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Freeholders. My name's Fran Arrett, and I live in Jamesburg. I appreciate having a minute to come up here and talk to you. Like many of the people who spoke before me, I know quite a few people who are out of work, having tough times, some friends who've had their houses foreclosed on. I know this penny tax reduction will mean a lot. I care about open space too. I have children, but I think this does balance things out for everybody in the community and in the county, and I think this is the way we should be going. We appreciate your support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Freeholders, my name is Fred Semonite from Saraville. I am on the County Planning Board, Chairman of Environment and Parks. I am also Chairman of Middlesex County Wastewater Management Committee, but I'm speaking as a citizen of Middlesex County. I applaud you for the moratorium on, which is what I would like to call it, on 1 cent tax for open space. Even though I am for open space, I think it's very important. But people are hurting. Working people are hurting in this county, so I applaud you for doing that. But one caveat maybe, I would hope that this is a 1-year moratorium. We could be in economic trouble next year, just like we are this year. I would hope that you would look for something else to help and not do this again, that it just be for 1 year. Thank you.
I'm David Wheeler, Edison Wetlands. I'm just a little confused, I guess, here tonight with a couple of the things you're looking to pass. On one hand, you're looking to cut the open space tax that the citizens of Middlesex County and New Jersey voted for quite clearly. And on the other hand, you're looking to give $1.8 million to benefit, in the mayor's own words, 25 homeowners. So I'm just not sure. I understand the budget crunch as much as anybody, and clearly I know you guys have your work cut out for you in getting the budget to balance. But going against the wishes of the citizens and your constituents is to overturn what they voted for just in this past November. I just don't. I'm not sure where it could possibly come from. At the same time, you're voting on projects such as the one that was introduced tonight. Secondly, let me just say, as working for a nonprofit organization that offers tours, eco tours, nature walks, and farm tours to the communities free of charge, I can just say in the last few weeks alone, we've had an unbelievable variety of people coming in, and everyone from English as a second language to disabled students to seniors groups to kindergartners. And the most common refrain we hear anytime someone comes to our farm, the Triple C Ranch, is, I had no idea there was anywhere like this in Middlesex County or in whatever their neighborhood is, their area, whether it's New Brunswick or Edison or Sayreville. I had no idea there was anything like this here in this part of New Jersey. And we're just a small location within Middlesex County, but there's many other locations out there still that are unprotected, including many in our area, but many in other areas of the county as well. And, I mean, let's be clear, if you cut that tax against the wishes of the citizens, those areas that are right now at risk of being overdeveloped, those are going to be paved over, they're going to increase flooding, they're going to increase traffic, and basically they're going to take them away from the families for the future. And it's just completely uncalled for, and there's many other ways you can balance the budget. So I ask you to consider that tonight.
Charlie Jagu from Milltown. I hope that you don't take the $11 million away from the Open Space Fund. I know everybody is hurting in New Jersey. But are you sending a bad message out? Are you telling the people? Are you telling the residents? Are you telling the taxpayer? Are you telling them that if they vote again the next time this comes up for the Open Space Fund, that, oh, well, maybe they better not vote for it because you're going to use that money someplace else? So I think that would be a very bad message to tell the people. Now, it's not, the open space money is not to balance the budget. It was put out there for open space. Now, I believe that's what we're looking at, open space money. Yes, the people of New Jersey and Middlesex County are hurting, but I think you're going to hurt them a lot more by taking away the open space. Thank you.
Jane Tausman of Edison. I believe that if you go through with this $11 million that you're taking out, that you're really doing democracy a slap in the face, because the voters overwhelmingly said they wanted to have open space and they wanted to pay for it, and you're just going right against it. So I think democracy is at stake here. I also believe that there was a county referendum that said that we could have this, and that it was an agreement with the state of New Jersey. And when the state of New Jersey came in with all of this, they told us that there was supposed to be a specific purpose for the open space acquisition, that it was for recreation and conservation purposes, it was to acquire recreation and conservation purposes, it was acquisition of farmland, it was historic preservation. I don't see anything in here about going into a general fund, which is where I think you're headed. Also, I would tell you that good old Edison came up with $5 million that they gave to Middlesex County for open space. Now, are you going to give us that $5 million back? Maybe then we can give the residents a break, because $5 million is an awful lot of money. Also, there are 26 towns in Middlesex County. I wonder how much the other towns have contributed to it. $5 million is almost half of the $11 million that you're offering to cut. So I just don't see that. Also, there have been surveys that have been done on recent elections. And in those surveys of all 21 counties, we came in with an approval rating of 54% that said that they wanted this open space. So the public has also spoken on this subject. I truly hope that you will think about all of these things when you're thinking about taking that $11 million away from us as a county, because we have overwhelmingly said we want open space. One of the other resolutions I want to speak on very quickly, if I still have time, is the generated materials that you have here for a public hearing. I hope you would not even consider this vendor. Edison Township said no to it. The SWAC is advising you to go ahead with it. This is a vendor who got not only one administrative law judge to give them a fine of $15,000, but a second judge came along with $105,000 of fine. They are trespassing on Edison law, on Edison land, rather. They are not good vendors, and we do not want them in Edison Township. So I would hope you would not even consider this particular resolution. Thank you.
Before you sit down, I just have to clarify two things that you said. First of all we're doing tonight with that resolution is setting it down for a public hearing that we're required to do. It's no indication of how this board feels about that particular vendor. So
Right.
we're doing that because we have to do it, and it'll go through the process that it has to go through.
Well, the problem is that Edison has said no and SWAC has said yes. And SWAC is still your professional people who come to the SWAC meetings who know a little bit about recycling. And he is going for a recycling license. And I did not want to let opportunity slide by, because I understand they did a presentation for SWAC that was just fantastic. But they are not fantastic, and so that's why I'm here. Thank you.
And the second thing I want to mention
Yes,
is
sir.
that you made a statement that we were putting the open space money into the general fund. That's not an accurate statement.
Well, I would
What we're doing
hope
is
not.
by reducing the 1 cent, the net tax to the taxpayers is going to be no tax increase. We're not taking that open space money and putting it into the general fund.
I would
That's
hope not.
Yeah,
I would
that's not
hope
how it's
not,
working.
because they are dedicated funds.
Right.
And also, as I said, I am very concerned about that. Thank you.
Esther Nemitz, 162B Fay Street, Edison. As much as I appreciate the comments that you have just made about the fund, even though it's a reduction in the fund, it's equivalent to a way of rating a fund. One thing that we have gotten ourselves in New Jersey, big time financial difficulty, is because we have rated one way or another, fund after fund after fund, whether it's the transit fund, the pension fund, whatever fund it is. We have this habit of finding a way to dig into these funds and leave them without the monies that they started with, that they were supposed to have, that we were supposed to use them for. And I look at what's going to happen here with open space, and I see this as one more way to rate a fund. One of the things that has happened in Edison, our Board of Education has had to cut funds. And one of the things that they cut was having the fifth grade students go to Camp Bernie. That is a huge event for them to have to cut. Not only that, but it's part of a federal mandate to go to a multicultural event of some type, and that's what they have been doing for years in order to fulfill that federal mandate. Without that, one of the things that we were looking for, and I think I've talked to the board about this before, was building our environmental center that we want to build, which is adjacent to the Triple C and the Dismal Swamp. It's been in our minds that this would be an opportunity, not just for the students in Edison, but for the students in all of the towns in Middlesex County and the surrounding area to come here to Edison, to the Dismal Swamp, to the Raritan River, to the Stevens property, to those areas that we have that we want to develop into a substitute for Camp Bernie, to save ourselves the problems of sending everybody off on a bus that we can no longer afford, but to have something that's much more local and is a different kind of ecological experience for the students. I had hoped that one of the things that we would look forward to in the future is being able to come to the Board of Freeholders and say, can you help us with this? You know, because there are many areas that we want to try to work on to make things available. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And I have to say, I've been following the Pull to Farm thing for years. It's been going on for a long time. It certainly is an important area. I certainly appreciate the fact that they're looking for that amount of money. The last time we were looking for money, we were looking for money to buy property up on Woodland Avenue. It was over $8 million that we wanted. We thought we were getting some help from the Board of Freeholders about that, but unfortunately, instead, the properties were sold, and we lost valuable property that we could have used for open space, because we were not able to have that finalized as an open space purchase. So that was a huge disappointment to us. And unfortunately, I think we needed a little bit more than the $8 million plus that the freeholders had offered in order to finish off that agreement. So that was a huge disappointment. With only $22 million left in the fund, to spread that among all the towns doesn't leave everybody with very much. It certainly is not going to buy anybody else $10 million for a farm. I mean, it's just not. This is probably going to be one of the last of those purchases we'll see, maybe ever, and certainly for a long time. I also hope that if you go ahead with this, which would be a horrible mistake from my point of view and a great disappointment, that this would be the only year that this would happen. And I know that people talk about turning things around. I don't agree with what you're doing. And I must tell you also, on the generated materials resolution, the council in Edison is up in arms about the idea that this might be approved. They are really up in arms. If SWAC approves this, and if it comes to you, I know that you're going to be hearing from them. I will say one good thing tonight. There's a resolution at 720. This is about the intersection at Main Street and Ford Avenue. It looks like there's a little reduction in the cost there. The improvements that you made to that intersection have been absolutely terrific. It's a beautiful intersection now. If we did that with a similar intersection in the county, we'd have something really good going on.
We're trying.
It's really a plus. It's not to take away from anything that I have said about the open space possibilities or about generated materials. And I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Yes, just to clarify the comments with regard to the Edison acquisition, the Freeholder Board did commit the $8 million by contract. The only reason that the ultimately that resolution was voided was because Edison Township didn't proceed with the acquisition and fund their portion of it by contract. But this board did commit its money to that.
I think there's a little more to it than that, but it's still a huge disappointment for us that we were not able to get that done, and we probably could have used a little more help from the freeholders to see that it got done.
We committed 100% of what we were asked for. That's what happened.
Well, something went wrong somewhere along the line there. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jill Weislow. On behalf of New Jersey Conservation Foundation, I'd like to read a statement. County Open Space Trust Fund revenue is critical for protecting open space and natural resources. It is a cost-effective way to reduce sprawl, provide for passive and active recreational opportunities, and enhance quality of life and property values. County open space dollars can be matched with State of New Jersey Green Acre dollars, bringing state conservation dollars into Middlesex County. If in Middlesex County we reduce our effectiveness in achieving the goals of our open space and recreational plan, while our neighbors Monmouth, Mercer, Somerset, and Union continue to expand and improve their world-class county park systems, we'll lose 4 ways. We'll lose more open space, our property values will diminish compared to our neighbors, our state tax dollars will flow disproportionately to open space projects in other counties, and most importantly, we will fall behind in quality of life compared to the rest of New Jersey. In this economic climate, when property values are particularly low as compared to a few years ago, the Middlesex County Open Space Trust Fund can be particularly effective in purchasing critical open space and slowing urban sprawl. Please do not reduce the Middlesex County Open Space Trust Fund. The small cost to each taxpayer is more than returned in the ample dividends reaped by each resident in maintaining our quality of life. And thank you for the opportunity to comment.
My name is Dana Patterson, and I'm with Edison Wetlands Association. I'm also a lifelong resident of Edison Township. Last week, I stood up here and asked every single one of you freeholders to think about our future, to think about my generation, and to understand what it would be like if you were to cut open space funding, what it would be like if we didn't have open space funding for my future. We wouldn't have the parks, we wouldn't be able to purchase the open space land that we could. We wouldn't have the availability for students in 5th grade to go to Camp Bernie. I was a student, I went to Camp Bernie. I enjoyed it so much. To hear tonight that they cut that from all 5th grade students in Edison is a disappointment. You have the opportunity right now in Middlesex County to give those students the opportunity to experience the same experience I did at Camp Bernie, right at the Triple C Ranch in Edison, in the environmental center that they're going to build in Edison, in the Dismal Swamp Conservation Area. You have the ability to fund that, to give them that amazing experience, to give them the ability to interact with their peers outside in nature. They don't have to rely on their parents to travel 2 hours to New York or Pennsylvania to enjoy nature, to do some hiking, to do some camping. They can experience it right here in Middlesex County, in Edison. And you have the opportunity to keep the Open Space Fund, to give them that, to enjoy that nature right here. Camping, hiking, fishing, all in the Dismal Swamp Conservation Area. In addition to purchasing additional open space properties throughout Middlesex County so we can enjoy nature right here. There's no reason why we have to drive out of state and send all the tax rateables to New York or Pennsylvania for recreational activities in New Jersey, when we can experience that right here in New Jersey in Middlesex County. So for my generation, for my kids, for my grandkids, please think of our future and think of the opportunities that we have right here. Once you take away that open space funding, once that land is developed into warehouses, parking lots, you can't get that land back. There is no way you're going to get that land back. So please, preserve that open space right now and do not reduce the open space fund. Thank you.
I'm Carol Jagu from Milltown. I'm a member of Edison Wetlands. However, I'm also a member of the Milltowners for a Sensible Ford Avenue redevelopment. Every day when we go over the bridge in Milltown, we see people fishing constantly, almost every month of the year. When you go out Riva Avenue, to the very end, there's Davison Mill Pond and the dam. And what do you see there? People fishing every single time you go out there. With the way the economy is today, and less money for recreation coming into each family, what greater recreational activity is fishing, or birding, or hiking? And you can do that at the present time. Last November's election, the open space funding was greatly approved by the residents of Middlesex County. The voters put their trust in you to administer the Open Space Trust Fund properly and to the public's desire. I feel that by taking $11 million from this fund to balance the budget is not the wishes of the voters. please reconsider this and do not take any funds from the funds from the open space funds. I would like to know how much money will be saved by each taxpayer if this 1 cent is cut. Nobody can tell me?
It depends upon the,
It varies by each town, obviously, based on the equalized values of the towns. For example, in Old Bridge, it's about $40 for an average homeowner. What price?
In Old Bridge, the average home is about $150,000. Assess that means it would probably sell for, the average home is $300,000. And that equates down to, this penny translates into a 2-cent municipal rate, which translates into $40 on the average tax rate.
And that's just one example, and it really varies by town, but there's a savings, obviously, depending on the equalized value of each of the towns.
So it could go from $25 to $30 to $40. I don't think that's much for a resident of our town, of our county, or a taxpayer to sacrifice. I know everybody's having tough times, and I do appreciate you scrutinizing the budget, but I wish you would look for other things that could be used for this funding instead of taking it from the open space funding. The Ford Avenue site in Milltown, it's on the corner of Ford Avenue and Main Street, and I'm sure mostly everybody knows where it is. It's the site of the first Michelin tire factory in the United States. It is slated for development of 350 units of housing. Currently, the Borough of Milltown, the developer, and the owner of the property are in litigation over this property. The project will create additional traffic problems, additional problems with our water, sewer, and our electric utilities, and also bring an extra burden on the town for the additional school children that it will bring in. But most importantly, it affects the Lawrence Brook. It will affect the Lawrence Brook. It will affect the Mill Pond. The Lawrence Brook is a source of Milltown and New Brunswick's drinking water. In April 15th, 2007, and I spoke about this at the last meeting, Milltown had a flooding disaster. More open space. I know that the county has designated some funds for open space for this land. However, more open space would help alleviate this flooding problems. The ground acts as a sponge to absorb the water. So I would appreciate you if you would take into consideration not cutting the open space funds. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bethany Spiegel. I'm from Edison. And I just wanted to say that as a young person, I am very concerned and very much saddened by the fact that you guys are considering cutting the open space fund. And I know that the economy is in bad shape right now, but it's not static. And soon enough, it may be in better shape. But if we cut this fund, we aren't going to get the land back that we're missing these opportunities on. So I would just ask that you guys really consider my generation and the generations to come when you make your decision on this. Thank you.
My name is Mary Ethel Harding, and I have been a resident of Middlesex County for most of my years, since I've been 8.5. Okay, as Freeholder Polders made me stand, we all know what I do for a living. Okay, I deal with the seniors. Okay, I listen to the seniors. They are so afraid of their taxes going up. Okay, a responsible budget which would help these. They're waiting for the refund to come back. They don't know if it's coming back. I mean, you listen to this all day long. Okay, we need a responsible budget. I am for open space. I went camping on Journey Mill Road. I went fishing at the dam. Okay, I have done all those things as a child and as an adult. I've also been in the river. Okay, I learned how to swim in South River. So I've been here a long time, and we do need open space. Absolutely. I am totally for it. But I think in this economy at this point, I don't think people need to lose their jobs. I have a sister who just finally got a mortgage. She didn't know if she was going to lose her house. Okay? I have friends that have been in the same position, and I have friends that are not worried about the money. So there are both sides of this. But to really think about your seniors, your disabled, who have homes, who need to pay those taxes, they're hurting, so am I. I think everybody at this point should really put up a responsible budget. And $22 million, I feel right now for open space is sufficient. Okay? I think that one penny, maybe next year we can give it to them. But in November, I don't feel we were as a bad situation as we are now, as things have dwindled down. Okay? And I thank you for my being able to speak.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is David Nolan. I'm a lifelong resident of Middlesex County, grew up in Woodbridge. And it's coming to a time now with the economics that are going on that people are losing everything. And if you're going to take money from this fund, I would hope that the job that you're doing to improve Middlesex County on all the other things that I heard this evening, the roads, the new roads which are in desperate need of repair, that you would take what money that we have and use your, use what you know, your knowledge in being freeholders, and to be able to purchase land as much as you can with what you have in this depressed market, and maybe find some deals to where we can actually, use the economy to find some good deals and not lose any more than we have, but be able to maintain the status quo, and also keep our taxes low. The last woman just talked about the seniors. I help my mother pay her taxes. My family's been in Woodbridge since 1955, and it's a shame that she can't. She can barely afford to stay there now with the way taxes are. None of us want to leave Middlesex County. I think we're here because we love Middlesex County, and we'd like to stay here. And that's what the thing is. And we'd like to make it affordable. Not only don't we want to leave Middlesex County, but we don't want to leave New Jersey. And we'd like to see it become affordable and prosperous again, and still enjoy the things that my generation, enjoyed, and your generation. I'd like to see my grandkids enjoy the same thing. So I'd like you to be responsible enough to do the right thing, because when push comes to shove, we're all human beings here, and I know you'd like to be able to go to bed at night and say, you know what, we actually saved the town. We saved the county some money. And that's what's important right now, that, everybody's asked to do more with less. Well, we're going to have less. I'd like to see you be able to do more with it, just like you're asking us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Bill Schluter. I live on Old Forge Road in Monroe. And I sat and I listened to everybody. And this one-year moratorium, I'm in favor of open space, without a doubt. But, the freeholders are taking on a task tonight, or they went through it, thought, how are we going to help the towns out? And if you go to the town's meetings, which I'm sure most of you do, go to your own town, I don't think in November, when people are voting, and when open space first came about, probably in the early 90s, I don't think people were thinking about all the cuts that we were going to get from the state government. The mayors could tell you, I go to the town meetings, I go to the council meetings, and it's pretty sad. Monroe got hit hard, Woodbridge got hit hard, Old Bridge got hit hard, Edison got to take a beating. But the little bit that's going to help is I want to thank the freeholders for trying to help the towns. That's what it comes down to. I don't think in November people thought South Brunswick would be cutting 270 Board of Education jobs. That wasn't even thought about in November. So, at this time, I think you got a responsibility the Middlesex County residents, and I want to thank you for taking on that job.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Any Freeholder have any separate items to be considered on the consent agenda? Going on separately?
Yes, Director, I have 3. 10,700, 10,765, and 10,767.
I have one, which is 10,712.
And I have one 10772. I'm sorry, Director, I have a family
right.
emergency.
10,777. What was that? Okay. Okay, Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would be in order to adopt the consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 10-699 through 10-775, excluding resolutions 10-700, 10-765, and 10-767, excluded by Freeholder Valenti, resolution 10-712, excluded by Freeholder Director Rafano, and resolution 10-772, excluded by Freeholder Polis.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett.
Yes.
Freeholder Delina.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Is this the first one?
That's on the consent.
Okay, yes.
Freeholder Scott.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
Now, Freeholder Director, it would be appropriate to consider the resolutions together that were excluded by Freeholder Valenti. They are resolutions 10-700, 10-765, and 10-767.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, second by Freeholder Scott. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett.
Yes.
Freeholder Delina.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Scott.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Present, not voting.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Yes.
And next, to consider the resolution excluded by Freeholder Rafano, and that is Resolution 10-712.
Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, seconded by Freeholder Valente. Roll call.
Freeholder Barrett.
Yes.
Freeholder Delina.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Yes.
Freeholder Scott.
Yes.
Freeholder Valenti.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano.
Present, not voting.
Now, finally, Freeholder Director, it would be appropriate to consider Resolution 10-772, which was excluded by Freeholder Polis.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, second.
No.
Other way around.
Yeah.
Freeholder Valente. And seconded by Freeholder Barrett. A roll call, please.
Freeholder Barrett.
Yes.
Freeholder Delina.
Yes.
Freeholder Polos.
Freeholder Director, I just need a minute before I vote to just express my opinion. I just want to thank everybody who's taken the time to come out tonight to share with us your thoughts, those who are in favor of this 1 penny cut and those who are not. I would say to those who are not in favor of the cut that you also perhaps need to be a little bit aware of the process that gets us to this point. It may be an oversimplification tonight to paint the picture that this is the answer to a budget problem that exists. The real question that has to be asked, and it predates tonight's meeting, is how did we get to this position to begin with? There are some of us who believe that over the last couple of years, and this really goes back to 2008, we had ample notice and certainly good indicators of how our budget was, what we were able to afford to do, and how we needed to restructure ourselves going forward in order to make county government affordable. It's unfortunate, and it was certainly not unanimous in many instances, that some of the decisions that were made over the last couple of years have put us into the position where now, again, the picture that has been painted, and it's how it's framed to all of you as residents that allows you to react to us, that this is the answer to the problems. I would submit to all of you who have spoken tonight, those in favor and those who are opposed, that it's, again, an oversimplification of the problem. It's very easy tonight, and I'm the biggest supporter of cutting taxes, as well as I'm sure my colleagues are, and anyone who's in elected office. Who in their right mind, as a sitting elected official, wants to sit up here and say, no, I'm not in favor of cutting a tax? But it goes much deeper than that. The fact is that from an open space perspective, public voted for open space money to be used for open space. They voted time and time again, overwhelmingly, for open space money to be used for open space. In fact, even in the midst of last year's general election, which was a Democratic debacle, they still voted in favor of open space. It sends to me, as an elected official, representative of this county, that there is a strong sense that open space is important, necessary, and should be fully funded. The fact is that this past November, this freeholder board, and there were those of us who questioned the necessity and the urgency to do it, adopted a bond resolution to bond for $40 million in additional open space money. Now, why is that important to you tonight? Well, as a result of that additional $40 million bond, we've saddled the taxpayers of Middlesex County with an additional approximately $2.5 million in debt a year, on top of an existing $11 million of debt that we already were paying for prior open space bonds. When Mayor Phillips mentioned before that when we reduce this $11 million off the open space, we'll have about $22 or $23 million left to spend. The fact is that that's not exactly true, to the extent that about $13.5 million of that $23 million or so is going to just pay debt service. We're becoming much like the federal government, where a large portion of the dollar that you pay in federal tax goes just to debt service and never gets to go for goods, services, and other programs. So the fact is that of that $22 million, $13.5 million of that is going to go to debt service. It was said at the last meeting that some of you were not in attendance at, when some of us questioned the scope of the projects and what were we really affording to do, that the decisions made about projects funded, and this was said by Freeholder, by our administrator, are the same projects that we agreed to fund back in 2000 at the end of 2009. It's the same list. In fact, I was told that several times. There were no changes. It certainly, at least in part to me, begs the question, why did we go out for $40 million in bonding for open space if we knew that we were going to be having new money coming in? Maybe we didn't need to go out for $40 million. By reducing our bonding just in November, we would have reduced the burden on the county taxpayer this year and in future years. Realize, as I'm sure you do, when you go out to bond, you almost double the actual cost of the expenditure. And it places a burden on future generations. I have little kids, 11, 8, and 6. I'm sure many of you have children and grandchildren. And you want to see us function on a pay-as-you-go basis. I don't think you want county government living on a credit card. We all object to the fact that the federal government seems to be doing that each and every day. And many of you who are here today are good, honest, hard, working people that are trying to make ends meet each and every day. I know you all don't live on a credit card. I know you all do not put huge debt on yourselves that you have to worry about 5 and 10 years from now. You have to live within a budget and pay as you go. Many of us have advocated that for the last 2.5 years. To underscore that, at least I have requested that we have a budget task force put together to be able to try to infuse new ideas as to how we could reduce the county budget in Middlesex County. Why is that important in tonight's discussion? If we didn't go up $11.5 million this year in county taxes, we wouldn't have to be taking $11.5 million from open space funds to buffer it from the county taxpayers. The question also becomes, if our interest is in trying to secure the future and reduce our costs, there's never been a discussion by anyone about taking this $11.5 million and retiring old open space debt that continues to burden us each and every year. If we have $11.5 million of free money, and I can't tell you that I'm totally convinced that that $11.5 million could not be already used for other programs within open space, then let's at least keep it in open space. We're still helping the taxpayers by reducing the operating debt of that fund so that your children and mine don't have to continue to pay that each and every year. But that's never been a discussion item. In fact, myself, and I can't speak for all the freeholders, only found out about this open space idea when the budget was announced by the director a month and a half ago. There was never been any discussion or debate about its relevance or how it could work. And again, earlier this year, once again, some of us recommended to the Freeholder Board, and I have to tell you, it's not an easy thing to admit as an elected official, and I've been one for 28 years, but I'll tell you, as a sitting freeholder for 13, I've given a lot of ideas and suggestions. They may not all be good as to how we could cut taxes and how we could increase revenues, but I know I've kind of reached a limit, and I need new ideas. And I'm disappointed, to say the least, that there wasn't support to bring people in from the outside, people like yourselves and other experts in finance, people from Rutgers, from the state, people who are financial experts in the markets, to come and sit with us and say, you know what, Freeholder Board, we know that you're used to doing somewhat business as usual, but it's a game changer today. The economy in the world isn't the same, and we need to look at this as a real business. You ask that of us every time you elect us, and sometimes we wear that as a cloak of honor that we're going to run government like a business. Well, we're not doing you the service if we allow ourselves to be $11 million over last year and basically siphon dollars from an exclusive account to help subsidize that. And the fact is, ladies and gentlemen, that next year we double our burden. If it is the intention of this board to refund that $11 million next year, well, that's a point right there. And we still have $11 million over this year that we haven't dealt with. So we really go into next year at a 2-point deficit right off the bat. We're robbing today to pay for tomorrow. We're using one-time budget issues to try to fix a budget, like the sale of the county engineering building this year. In the worst real estate market in history, we sell a county asset and now have to rent it back. And the prior year, we sold another county asset, our parking garage, and now pay between $140,000 and $170,000 more a year to park your taxpayer dollars in a garage that we formerly owned. The point is that we need to look at this as a sum total. We need to have the right expertise to come in and say, you know what? We need to restructure this budget. If we want to save you money, let's save real money. Let's not just give you a penny back today so you pay $1 tomorrow. Let's really cut the budget effectively. Let's have a true 5-year plan that shows how we restructure our staff through attrition and through better planning. Let's have a real plan that puts together a land use policy so that we're not paying high rents in the city and in other locations and using our own properties instead. These are ideas and programs and proposals that have been brought before the board time and time again. And I say with the greatest respect, and it's not personal, we're talking tonight policy, procedure, we're talking priorities, we're talking principle. It's not personal. I don't dislike anybody on the board for thinking that this is a good idea. It's the idea that they came up with. I don't subscribe to it, not because I don't want to cut your taxes, and not because I'm not worried about those of you who may not be employed or might be between jobs or had a wage freeze. I'm worried about the fact that we do this one gimmick this time. What do we do tomorrow? How do we recover? And what does the future hold for you and for my kids and for yours as well? How do we pick ourselves back up? If you allow us, even though those of you have been framed to think that this is a good idea, ask yourselves this: what do we do next year? Do we take another penny? Do we rob another dime? Do we come up with some other gimmick? How do we get ourselves out of this situation? We haven't cured ourselves. We've simply put a Band-Aid over the injury. And that's the problem that I have with it. So I want you to know that my vote tonight, not in favor of this, is not because I'm anti-taxpayer, not because I'm anti-cutting taxes, not because I don't care about each and every one of you and what the financial burden is on you and your families. The reason I'm voting against this tonight is to be consistent in my policy beliefs that this government is over-budgeted, too fat, has not taken a true top-down approach to cutting costs. We've burdened our union people, and many of you here tonight are. We've told them take zero. We've told them that we can't hire people. We've told them that they have to do more with less. But we haven't done that across the board at the highest levels of this government, where the real costs are bleeding us each and every day. So the bottom line is until we restructure, until we really get to the bottom line of what the costs are, until we're able to take our $400 million budget and truly reduce it versus trying to say we're at zero because of effective tax rates, that's all magic of numbers. We have to cut the cost to the county taxpayer. And then, ladies and gentlemen, and then only, when we've shown that we can do that, if we still have overages in open space, well, then that's fine. But let's refund them to the old debt that we've placed on your children in open space funds so that we can make the future brighter for all of us and know that we're going to be on a path of real recovery rather than on a path of destruction when it comes to the financial management of the county. So it's for that reason tonight, and I appreciate your time to explain my position, and I know there may be disagreement with it. And again, it's not a personal issue. It's purely policy, consistent with the message that I've been sending since the beginning of this year, and consistent with the message I've been sending to the county for the last 2 years on how we need to be fiscally responsible. So for that, I respectfully say that I do not vote in favor of the resolution to cut the 1 penny.
Freeholder Scott?
I vote yes.
Freeholder Valenti?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rafano?
Yes, and I do want to make a statement. And first, I'm going to comment later about the open space tax. But, you know, this budget process, you should know, started in September of '09. It went through review by our Budget Review Committee. Freeholder Polis mentioned that he didn't know anything about or the first time he was aware of this 1% reduction was at the budget was introduced or talked about or whatever. At that time, there was no voice or concern from him about the 1%. During that time of the budget process, I made it clear to every single member of this board of chosen freeholders, by phone conversations, by personal conversations, by emails, I want your input because we got a tough year. I don't think any freeholder can deny that. I've talked to Freeholder Barrett, talked to Freeholder Valente, even Freeholder Delina, Freeholder Scott about our shared services that we were able to work out with Monmouth County, and of course, Freeholder Rios. I did not hear from Freeholder Polis, even after I called and spoke to him on the telephone. His statements about policies and problems that he thinks this county has are inaccurate, they're not true, they're false. For him to sit here and say that, not having involved or engaged himself in the budget process to deliver the savings he claims he can deliver, I think is totally inappropriate. At one meeting, maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago, we were talking about the budget, and Mr. Freeholder claimed to have a way to save money, savings. And at that meeting, I virtually begged him to please give us that information because I want to put it in the budget because we're all working for the common good, which is to save tax dollars. I never received it. I thought for sure I was going to get it the next day by email. I thought I was going to get a phone call. That did not occur, and that's unfortunate. To say that the bleeding is at the top is inaccurate. Our county administrator, Al Kachinkis, did an outstanding job. We were looking at a $28 million tax levy. We lost $18 million of revenue from various sources. We lost state aid. To say that we have a policy issue or a policy problem, again, is inaccurate. I want to mention that we have been funding our open space fund by bonding. We've done it for, I don't know, 10 years, at least. And Freeholder Polis voted for it time and time again. That decision was made so that we can have a larger pool of money now to make the acquisitions while the economic downturn was driving the real estate costs down. So again, I question the sincerity of some of the statements being made. We were all supposed to work together. That obviously did not occur according to Freeholder Polis, but I've entertained, and all freeholders here have entertained any suggestions, any ideas another freeholder has. They may not like the answer, but that does not mean that we're not open to suggestions. We're all working to a common goal, which is to reduce or to come in with flat taxes in 2010 for the taxpayers. They are hurting. The economy stinks. We all know that. And this budget delivers that. Now I have a statement that I'd like to read.
Well, I just want to
This
respond.
evening,
Freeholder Rafano, I'm sorry, but I think I tried to not make it personal. I didn't.
Freeholder,
Well,
it's not
Freeholder
your
Director,
turn.
I think it's highly
Freeholder,
inappropriate.
it's not your turn.
I did not.
This evening, we finalize our efforts to ensure Middlesex County will have no tax increase in 2010. Tonight, we vote on reducing by 1 cent the county open space tax for 2010 only. Despite this reduction, the county will still be in a position to fully fund all of our open space acquisition commitments for 2010 and beyond. At the end of 2009, the county had $70 million available in our open space program, giving us a total of $92 million in open space funds available for the additional for additional acquisitions and recreational improvements. Our policy remains unwavering. We will continue to aggressively pursue the purchase of land for open space preservation. As freeholders, we are proud of our open space preservation record. And even during these challenging economic times, I believe our open space program continues to be the model for all to mirror. We've already saved forever more than 7,100 acres of open space and more than 5,000 acres of farmland. Our commitment has not and will not change. Our goal is to preserve 10,000 acres of open space by 2012, and we are on track to do that. In 2010, we will continue to pursue parcels within the environmentally sensitive Dismal Swamp, which has been a priority for us over the past 3 years. We've purchased 77 acres, are purchasing 33 acres more, and have committed a total of about $4.6 million in this one area alone. We currently have sufficient funds in the Open Space Fund to pursue every one of the properties we are currently investigating, negotiating, or hold contracts for, and still have funds remaining to pursue other land acquisitions and to fund additional recreation projects. In communities across the state, the economy has forced many to severely reduce or eliminate their open space programs. We did not and will not let that happen to the Middlesex County program. And the best part of this plan, it enables this board of freeholders to provide our residents with much-needed tax relief. Let's face it, our nation, our state, and our county are still in the grips of one of the most difficult financial periods in our history. Every government entity has been negatively impacted. As a result, we have to absorb numerous cuts in federal and state aid, while at the same time we are being compelled to meet increases in mandated costs. We have a responsibility to all our residents, from the approximately 40,000 people whose only income is Social Security, to members of our labor force who've been out of work for months, to every family who is struggling to make ends meet. What each and every resident needs is leadership that brings a balanced strategy and commitment to government services. The strategy that I've laid out allows us to achieve our goal of no tax increase to our residents. Supporting this resolution allows us to achieve that goal. Despite the rhetoric of some, the facts speak for themselves. We have frozen salary and wages for 2 consecutive years. We have reduced our operating expenses for 2 consecutive years. Our operating expenses are now less than they were in 2008. We've cut 45 positions through attrition, and we have established shared service arrangements that will bring in $25 million over the next 10 years. These are just a few examples of the initiatives we have taken. We're not finished. We are putting in place a foundation that will allow us to come out of this economic crisis prepared to continue to provide the programs and services that will best serve our residents. We were elected to act in the best interest of all our residents. It is critical to offer needed services. It is critical to offer tax relief, and it is critical to preserve open space. I believe the budget we adopted last week, in conjunction with this one-year tax reduction we vote on tonight, strikes a balance that best serves all of our residents. Thank you, and I vote yes. This time I'd like to open the meeting to the public. Anyone from the public? Yes, sir.
Freeholder Bob Spiegel, Edison Wetlands. But actually, I'm talking as the chair of the Dismal Swamp Commission as well. We had so far have had 3 meetings of the commission, which is the Dismal Swamp Preservation Commission, and through the chair, we had understood that there was appointments made through the Freeholder board. Freeholder Barrett has been appointed to the board. And we've now had 3 meetings, and she has not shown up for a meeting yet. So I'd like to find out, is this something that is a priority for her as a freeholder, as being a chairman on the Preservation Commission? And if it is, we've reached out to her. We've left phone messages. I personally have. We've mailed her the agenda for the meetings, the location of them. If we certainly would value her input on as the commissioner. But it's a state commission, and it's a valuable position. So we would certainly like to have her as a commissioner, but if she doesn't want to serve or can't serve, we would like to have appoint a freeholder that will come to the meetings.
I just want to say this. I have total confidence in Freeholder Barrett's ability, and she is committed to your committee.
Well, it's a state commission.
Yeah.
It's the Dismal Swamp Preservation Commission. And again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Freeholder. We've called you, we left messages for you, and if it's something that you can't serve on, we fully understand that with your schedule.
May I?
Sure.
As most people know, freeholder's position is supposedly part-time. But I think, as all of the freeholders will attest to, that it is a 7-day-a-week job, 24/7. And we are, all of us on the board are spread rather thinly. And we don't make all of the meetings, but we try to make as many as we can. I certainly have all intentions of making as many meetings that I possibly can make. Can I guarantee you or George Veravides, as he knows, I haven't attended all those meetings, and some of my others, because sometimes the meetings are all in the same day at the same time. It's impossible to be in two places at the same time. But I think anyone who knows me and knows my work ethic knows that I am a hard worker and I take my job very, very serious. So I take offense that you had to do this at the meeting, but you did it, and I will just say to you that I'm sorry that I missed 3 meetings. I certainly will try to make some of the meetings. I cannot ever say to anyone that I will make all the meetings, not only for conflict, but personal reasons and other reasons. Certainly, my dedication to open space is known throughout Middlesex County. I think I have proven that. I have proven my dedication to engineering, which I chair, and to the planning department, solid waste, utilities, improvement authority, but I sit here and actually offended, not that you said I didn't make the meetings, but to try to embarrass me or embarrass me in the way that I may not think that open space or the Dismal Swamp is somehow not important, because that is not so.
Well, I'm
It's
not.
just
That's
not
not my intention, Freeholder. I have reached out to you. I have left messages, and I have tried other methods to reach out to you. And if you take offense, I apologize, because I am not in any way trying to offend you. All I'm trying to see is if that is something that, for your scheduling purposes or for other reasons, you cannot make it.
I think I answered.
Okay.
And I think that if you can't get me on my county phone, quite frankly, not many of us freeholders are sitting in our freeholders' office upstairs waiting for phone calls. And we've been through a budget process, and it's been very, very hectic the last 3 months, quite frankly. So I may not have been as speedily answering your questions. Certainly feel free to call the clerk. Clerk can give you my home address. Feel free to email me.
Is she the best? Excuse me, Freeholder. Is that the best revenue to communicate with you regarding the scheduling of the meetings and the process? Because the commission has just started. This is a new state commission.
Mm-hmm.
It's understandable that it's going to take some time to get up to speed. Again, it's not something I'm trying to challenge you on. If it's better to go through the township or the county clerk in order to try to get your scheduling and your availability and make you aware of what the calendar is for that commission.
I'll give you my email address. feel
Okay.
free.
Because while we were given, when we.
And I can give you my home address, feel free. As
Well-
many, the planning department and the engineering department, the
Okay.
improvement authorities send me information that's important or not so important, just general information through the United States Post Office, which
Okay.
delivers every day.
Well, I'll
Except
afterwards,
Sunday.
afterwards, if you would like me to give the clerk the information and use her as a conduit for communicating, I absolutely will do that.
Clerk can give you my home email
Whichever you
address.
prefer. Whichever you prefer.
I would prefer if you do it by email, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And the clerk does have that available, and feel free to use it at any time.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to address the board. Thank you very much for taking the taxpayers and the people that work very hard every day and the seniors into consideration for what you did tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any motion to close?
So moved.
Motion by Freeholder Barrett, second by Freeholder Valente. Voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Barrett, second by Freeholder Valente. All those in favor?
Aye.